How's it going, everyone? Tech here. On this episode, we talk about IndieNomicon, have a great interview with Tholen of Dropsy The Clown, and we check out Avalon Lords, among many other things. This is episode 14 of the Indie Game Riot.
Indie Game Riot! Hey everybody, it's JaShinYa, and yes, this is episode 14, and we have something a little bit different, as Techno stated in the intro. We do have an interview today with Tholen, who made Dropsy The Clown, as well as, I can't think of the, I have the other game name. That too, but Hypno Space Enforcer. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but first, as always, how's everyone doing? Who wants to go first? Rev, you can go first this time.
I'm well on my way to intoxicated. I haven't sobered up in the last 2 days, and I got a big mug of vodka and pomegranate tea to keep me going this evening. Things haven't been bad. I've been playing a lot of indie games, including a little game called Punch Robot that I want to talk to Jay about later on. And I had a friend who gifted me a USB 360 controller so I can plug it into my dying laptop and play games on a controller instead of having to deal with the dying laptop.
To donate to the Rev's technological failure funds, talk to us.
Talk to us after the show.
Yeah. And speaking, I should have probably done this first. I'm such a rude host. We have Jay in the show, and we're actually he said he doesn't mind sticking around for the whole show. So he's not only interviewing, but he's also going to be a guest host. So let's before tech goes, because no one cares about tech. We'll let Jay tell us how he's been. So hey, how you doing, Jay?
Hey, I've been doing pretty well. I don't know. Doing okay. I worked all day long since like 8 a.m. on a cutscene. So this is like my break.
Nice. I'm glad we can take your mind off of something that might have been
to ask you questions about said something later.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad you're here, Jay, and I hope to get your opinions on everything. And then how about you, Tech, if you must?
Oh, well, Jay was just about to say something.
Oh, I just said thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
You said, gotcha. No, not a whole lot. Been talking to a lot of game devs. I talked to this one guy, reached out to the community today. Just been doing some, managerial stuff for the Indie Game Riot, a little bit behind the scenes. I also hiked, did another hike because, I'm a big guy and I don't want to be as big of a guy. So...
Well, hiking is good. I can say you should, next time you go on a hike, you should wear steel-toed boots.
Yeah, I wore my boots this time.
Steel toes?
They weren't steel toes. No,
they gotta be steel toes, because I did that once.
Yeah.
I hiked to a peak wearing steel toes, thinking it would be smart, so I wouldn't stub my toes on rocks, not thinking, logically about the fact that I'm traveling, like 1,000 feet into the air, probably more, and that they would be weighing me down like at least 10 pounds.
Yeah. No, I wore my see, I have this lighter pair of boots because I go hunting, and for those of you who don't like hunting, I'm sorry.
Redneck.
Deer is the best meat you can get. It's delicious. I actually had some yesterday. Yeah, next to baby, because I am a bald. No, I wore these lighter boots, and unfortunately those lighter boots have like very little arch support. So even though I was in like my street shoes that one time I did that hike, and they're relatively intense hikes, not super intense, but it's about 500 feet up over the course of like a mile ish. But like towards the end, walking down that hill was just like, nope, my feet hurt so bad. This was a bad idea.
That's when you just decide to roll like Indiana Jones Boulder style.
For that whole rest of that night, my girlfriend and I barbecued over at a friend's house. We had some venison. I didn't wear shoes that entire time. We even went to McDonald's And I was like, "Look, guys, I'm just gonna wear my socks in McDonald's because I don't want to get my boots out of the trunk.
God,
take them off.
What a great workout! Let's go get some McDonald's.
So far, I think all in one day I've heard hunting, barefoot, barbecue, McDonald's. I don't know, man. Walmart?
Oh,
no, are you?
His name. Oh yeah, Tekido. I'm surprised you didn't go to Walmart. It's like you're going for like the hillbilly redneck. Yeah.
Well, I do have a beard that is getting like to Z. Okay. I'm just.
No, your beard is luscious. Your beard is
exactly. I was about to say, since when did beards stop being associated with ZZ Top and started to be associated with Duck Dynasty?
Oh God.
Because I hate Duck Dynasty, but
no
I
one likes Duck Dynasty. I
look at my beard. I'm like, okay, it's getting to ZZ Top. It's not quite Wizard, but it's getting there.
You want to get like the wispy, like Gandalf beard?
Oh, dude, I want to get it like as low as I possibly can.
I started associating that with like a rap song, but then.
Oh, really?
But anyway, it was yeah.
Oh. How about you, Josh? What have you been up to?
Oh, hey, thanks, man. Well,
not like I care. I'm just curious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. I'm gonna talk like someone does. And well, before the show, you guys in the live stream probably heard, but or at least the ones that were here, I have a baby coming. All you already know because I've mentioned that in past episodes. But it is definitely going to be happening this coming week. If it's not born naturally between now and Thursday, my wife will be induced on Thursday. So I got to talk to you guys a little bit after that, figure out what we're going to do.
Scheduling.
So yeah, scheduling-wise, so we can figure out, because it all depends on if we go out, if she gets it done naturally, or if there's a C-section. Because of a C-section, I'm going to be there all weekend. So we got to figure it out. But I will have a baby by next episode.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what we're going to name it yet?
What? Who?
Well,
what?
We talked about what we're going to name it, right?
What?
We.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, because of the Kai. I don't know. We've been going so back and forth. I swear. No, we were like a week ago. We were going to name him Rowan. Okay.
Okay.
And with a Hawaiian middle name. And Jade, before you get confused, my wife is Hawaiian. That's why. But anyway,
okay.
With a Hawaiian middle name. And then like last night, I'm laying in bed. Wife's like, so, what do you think of Kainoa or Kikoa? The two Hawaiian names that we were thinking of. I'm like, really? I thought we had this settled. But I don't say that I don't actually say that out loud because, moodiness.
You like sex.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Well, that's not going to be happening for a while anyway, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, baby next episode. Congratulations, me. High five.
Yeah.
That was me high-fiving.
Good job.
Any other little tidbits anyone else wants to say before we move on?
Apparently,
Too bad. Indie News Injection.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an Indie News Injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
All right, everybody, and the first and only piece of news that we have this week on Indie News Injection, we are talking about IndieNomicon. It is a get-together that happens once a month down in Orlando, Florida, if I'm not mistaken. It was Orlando, correct? I'm trying to...
Yeah.
It was Orlando. Okay, I'm not wrong. There are a lot of places in Florida that I...
There are a lot of places in Florida. Yeah. You heard it here first, folks. Again, on Indie News.
And the next get-together is Thursday, August 7th, where they get together with indie game, or like the indie community. It's a family-friendly event that they basically want everyone to come out to. They showcase games, and it's actually kind of a lot like I was looking at their website and I was like, that's kind of like what we do, only a little bit more, down to earth and get into the actual loop of things. It looks like they're also sponsored by IndieBox. We are not sponsored by IndieBox.
Yeah, IndieBox is they're our friends, man. We gotta we pimp them out when we can. So go subscribe. IndieBox September is coming up.
They've featured games like Mac the Lion Tamer and My Imaginary Friends and The Thieving Tower. And they need to update their website because their next event isn't listed. But Jay has been to one of these or knows the people who do this.
One or the other.
One or the other.
Yeah, I was the guy that was talking 2 months ago, something.
Oh, awesome.
I talked about my game there. It's not on YouTube yet, but
yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's
So
pretty sweet.
so they have monthly meetups. That's how this works. It's not like a normal convention where it's like every year it's a big thing. It's like a monthly convention, like a smaller one, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They actually are in December, I think. Instead of having a normal monthly thing, they do the IndieNomicon Expo, and it's like everyone shows their game at that. So they're trying to build that up, build the community over the course of the year, and then in December have their big event. Basically.
That's awesome. They should talk about that on the website.
Yeah, I guess I'm sure when it gets closer.
Yeah, I'll probably start talking. I actually learned about this through the game jam that we just covered, the Galactic Space
Indie Galactic Jam. Way to go.
Yeah, it's all the same guys with that, and IndieBox. Most of those guys show up at all the IndieNomicon. Like they're based in Orlando too. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Man, sucks to be in the middle of the East.
You know what? It used to suck to be here like 2 years ago. I Googled frantically and like I couldn't find any community for independent games. There were IGDA meetings, but you guys know what that is, right?
No.
Oh, Independent Game Developers Association.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just never heard that.
And there were meetups in like Tampa and Orlando, but they were super like dry. and I no offense to everyone who organized those, but they really didn't have a sense of community. It wasn't very good, and they were inconsistent, and they're pretty much dead now. So this is sort of a lot of members of that are involved in this.
Now, do they do kind of like the mini panels? I know they present a couple of games that have come out, at each one. But do they ever do like kind of a panel on like level design or sound design, stuff like that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they've done any workshops at each of the IndieNomicon events. Basically, It opens up with like some talking, and then I hope I'm not causing that feedback issue someone's having.
No,
but anyway,
shouldn't be.
Okay, but anyway, it opens up with some talking, just people talking to each other, and then the people present their games, and I think it's limited to 10-15 minutes a person, and then after that they set up little stations, and you can go around and play the 2 or 3 games that were showcased, for the night, and then that's the event.
That's awesome. That sounds like
it's fun.
Yeah. Community. That's the I feel like that's the big push that they're having, is bringing
That's the important
and
exciting thing about it. I love it. It's cool.
It reminds me sort of like what we were talking about everything last episode, like BitBash, like people getting people interested in indie games. And
you mentioned like not being able to find like the indie game community in Florida is kind of like it seems like it's kind of what was happening in Chicago. It's like a very underground thing, but there is a pretty strong presence there if you know where to look. And so it's good to see this sort of thing popping up, because we're all for strengthening the community around indie games, not just for devs, but just for fans as well. Whoever loves indie games. Because one thing that we've experienced in this community as gamers and doing or the journalistic side in via our podcast is the camaraderie among the indie game community is incredible. The amount of support, because devs especially, they go through these these hard times. If you watch the indie game movie, they pour their lives into it. They don't have money, and people understand where they're coming from. Other people who've created games and people who appreciate the games, and they do their best to try and support them. So when you see these things pop up, it just strengthens that sort of mindset.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Nope. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I like that it's not this competitive, like I feel like it used to be this really like if you go to an event, it's more like every man for himself, and you try to get the word out about your game and stuff. I love how it's shifted now to this like constructive, like everyone helps each other. I don't know, it just has a good. It feels really good. It feels down to earth. It's not like everyone's out there to try to make a buck, you know.
Yeah.
And then there are people who show up who may lean that way, but they either don't stay that way or no one pays attention to them because they don't want some canned thing product or whatever. So I don't know. It's pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
Do you know, out of curiosity, do you know if they have any plans on like streaming those? Because I know that the organizers for Indie 3 back in June, they've continued on, and now they do a broadcast every week is what they're aiming for, where they do a panel and then trailer showcase each week. But I'm always curious to see more and more, because what we hear about, and I say we because I kind of help moderate the community for the Indie 3 group, but what we hear about there isn't necessarily what might be hitting the news there in Florida. Do you know if they have plans on streaming those, maybe?
I don't know. That's something I'll have to ask.
We should email them about that. Ask them about those questions.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that they don't right now, because I don't know, you guys might know that more than me, but it
needs a lot of infrastructure.
Yeah, they have one guy, one or two guys that have been filming stuff, and then they try to edit it and get it up on YouTube and stuff, but I don't think there's been any streaming yet.
Okay.
So, good idea for the future of IndieNomicon.
I'll pass it along.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever I go to those things, I'll half the time spend the night at this guy's house out there, because I live in Polk County, which is Tech. Are you the guy that was hunting? You'd be at home in my.
I don't know. I'm not. I hunt, but I'm not in the middle of nowhere. But I know what you mean.
No one's going to get this reference, but Polk County is like Perry County around here.
Yeah, it's like everyone makes fun of it for being meth.
Oh,
where you go get meth, and it's like lots of hunting goes on, and backwoods area.
Nice.
So it's like 2 hours to get to Orlando, and so I basically try to spend the night somewhere if I go to those events.
And we were invited to IndieNomicon. I mentioned that off the recorded version, but I'd love to go if I wasn't having a baby. So maybe some other month. Hopefully it keeps up, because I'd love to.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, I'd love to go.
It definitely has community now. People know each other. It's cool.
We might be able to like radio in a talk like we did with Indie 3. Maybe.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's up to them, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on, or anything to say on IndieNomicon?
Other than if you're in the Orlando area, the next event is, as I've said, Thursday, the 7th of August. So they definitely want to see you. Tell us that we sent you. Tell them that
Indie Game Riot.
Indie Game Riot sent you. They'll be probably.
And they'll say who?
Yeah.
Those assholes on the internet.
Yeah. All right. Well, IndieNomicon. Hopefully we can all go. It's cool. Community is cool. But what I'm very excited for, up next, we don't have a bumper for, so we're just going to go right into it. Since Jay is here, we might as well interview him about his thoughts on indie gaming and his game, Dropsy the Clown. So, Jay.
Yo.
How you doing?
He's all terrified.
We've asked him questions this whole time. All of a sudden, it's about him, and
so crap. Spotlight on you. So, I mean, we were talking about the community and everything like that, and how amazing it's been as far as the support everyone has for each other. Would you say, as for the whole gaming industry, not just the community around indie games, but the whole gaming industry, would you say that indie games have changed the gaming industry since they've really came around? And if so, how would you say they've changed it?
I would say, yeah, man, like a lot. It's crazy because I think, I'm sure you guys have talked about this a lot, but publishers wouldn't give anything a chance that didn't test well, but you can't really test for everything, Mm-hmm. So we have like these people just taking all kinds of risks on all kinds of different genres and themes and methods and stuff. and then some of it works as far in a sales way, you know what I mean? And so it kind of proves, like Hotline Miami, geez, like that game. I mean, bringing up a Devolver game, I guess I'm being a, you know, yeah, no, like it sold like crazy, and let's see those guys like 5 years ago pitch that game to even a mid-sized publisher. They would not. I mean, just saying, oh yeah, we're making it in Game Maker or whatever, you know, that wouldn't
We're
really
doing a Unity game.
Yeah, I mean, even Unity has more prestige than Game Maker, you know, but that wouldn't have worked back then. But yeah, I like it. It's kind of neat. It's kind of funny to see these bigger publishers opening arms, indie arms, or like. Dang it! I want to sing that Creed song now. No, but like opening, you know, but opening like sub companies for like indie titles, or just going all the way over there. Like, geez, what's popped up? I mean, Majesco opened up Midnight City. Have you guys heard of that?
I have not actually.
And then Double Fine's publishing indie games now. They have their little publishing arm, and then like of course Devolver, I feel like were one of the first to sort of sign little guys and, you know, take risks on little guys, you know, and see if it would work out. But it's really neat.
It's working out definitely well for indie devs with the publishers signing, you know, the smaller devs and everything like that. And they, I mean, obviously it's all, they see how much money you know indie games can make when they're good, so it's kind of, you know, they're trying to jump on a bandwagon, but you know it's a win-win situation because that's what you're all working for. You know, you might be a starving artist, but I'm sure you don't want to be a starving artist for the rest of your life. You know, so
I actually have a question that goes along with Jay, with what you were talking about. Recently, right before your Kickstarter ended, you did get picked up by Devolver Digital as a publisher for Dropsy. Yeah. So like, tell us about that. Like, how did that go? Did they like reach out to you, and are you happy with what they're doing?
Yeah. I mean, okay. So I think it was right after Rock Paper Shotgun. I don't know if it's related, but right after Rock Paper Shotgun covered our Kickstarter, I got an email from them, and they're like, "Hey, you want to Skype? Your game looks pretty cool." And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, you know, that's a pretty big deal for
it's
a guy
big magazine.
like me. So I was like, Devolver emailed me, and they're like, "Hey, you want to Skype? We want to, you know, we're interested in your game." And I did a quick Skype, and I was very surprised at how little they like background checked me, so to speak, before, you know, signing me. I guess they just liked the character. They thought it was good and stuff. But because, I mean, I don't know. I'm like a guy. I dropped out of high school in my second year of 12th grade because I had horrible like ADHD problems. I like had this. I'm 27 now, so like the past 10 years almost of my life has been bouncing around telemarketing jobs and getting fired, and then trying to work on games, and you know all this like. And I live with my dad. Jeez, like what are they? Are they crazy? But like. I'm so thankful, like, that they picked me up, because I know very little about the marketing end of things, and it was just crazy. Like, I just get an email, and it's like 2 weeks later, like, I signed, you know. So, and then I announced it on the Kickstarter. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm happy with them. They're very hands off, which is really. Like it's nice, you know, it's nice, but at the same time, it creeps me out a little bit.
You're just waiting for the hammer to fall, right?
Yeah. It's like it's like having a girlfriend that doesn't really tell you what she's thinking all the time, and then so you're like, and you know, I'm sure I could ask them, but see, I kind of don't want to at some point during development when it's a little rockier, you know. But you know, and you're like, oh god, I hope this is okay. They haven't really said anything. Every now and then they'll say, you know, you need some help or anything, but mostly it's very hands off. There's like, do your thing.
Do they like push you for deadlines and everything like that, or are they even?
There are milestones, and we had to restructure that a little bit but we're still going to get the game out by the end of the year. Like, I'm working my butt off to make sure that happens. But
it's good. Awesome. You heard it here first. Indie Game Riot slowing down a game development.
Yeah. we're gonna get an email from them, but it's not gonna be nice. Like, how dare you take up his time?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Like the jealous girlfriend. Yeah.
Man, I worked like 12 hours today, so I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
So I have a question. I went through a lot of your. Forgive me, I know it's kind of stalkerish, but
But I have your social security number.
Just the last four. No, I went through and I listened to a lot of your music and I watched a lot of the videos that you've put out, and you have a blatantly obvious talent for music. And as somebody who's a fan of pretty much prog rock and everything that you do, like, fits perfectly into my kind of tastes of music. What specifically drew you towards indie game development as opposed to, say, a career in music?
Okay. Oh, geez, this is gonna make me start a life story. I gotta write a notepad. He asked me about why I wanted to go to indie game development. Okay, so okay, just so I don't get off track too much. So basically, I wanted to do that since I was really young. Do you guys know what click and play is?
Yeah, exactly what click and play is.
Yeah. So it's a little program that was packaged with Sim Tower. Well, that's how I got it, and it was like a little event-based game making program where it's like you can make these objects and you draw them, and then if ball collides with wall, then bounce. And it was like just a visual event system, and it was probably one of the first of its kind. It's like Game Maker, similar to that.
Right. And
so I got a computer in 1997 after begging my parents for a little while. What was I? Yeah, I was 10 years old. And that was one of the first things I got was like Sim Tower. And so I installed Click and Play and started tinkering around with it. And basically that's when I started doing pixel art too, because you had to, there wasn't really any fancy programs that came with Windows, and I was pretty poor.
Windows 97.
So, right. But, so I started doing art for my little crappy games, and then I eventually got the internet when I was 11 or 12, and that enabled me to use Dragon Ball Z GIFs. I say sorry if you don't say GIFs.
No, it's correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, so that enabled me to steal Dragon Ball Z GIFs and make the games with those. And then I was like, what, that's a little unoriginal. So I dumped those and started doing my own art again. And then I got into the community, the Click community, centered around their programs. Mm-hmm. And the Games Factory came out, and then Multimedia Fusion came out after that, the same line of programs. And that's where I met the programmer for Dropsy 2 back then. We were both pretty young. And so I got into it then. And then all through high school until I was 18, I kept making garbage, terrible games. They got better, but they were still bad. And then, like I said, I had to drop out and get telemarketing jobs, and that kind of drained me. I was just trying to figure out how to survive. The
soul-sucking jobs, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, in my car, I had this 1989 or 1990 Tempo, Ford Tempo, for a long, long time. And I upgraded to a 1996 Plymouth Breeze, which I have right now. But basically, long story short, I was Mr. Poor Guy struggling. Those jobs really do suck your soul out. You have no creative energy left when you get home. So I was kind of I don't have time to work on anything that I want to. And then that's when music kind of came in, because it's a little bit of a less intense, chilled out, less worky hobby.
With a lot less effort.
Yeah. Right. And then in late high school, I started getting into music genres like prog rock and it just turned into a web of like exploring all these weird, subgenres and stuff. And then I got into that a lot. Got into a few bands. Picked up keyboard and ukulele, and then in 2008 I made a choose your own adventure game on Something Awful. I don't know if any of you guys know.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was like a forum game. So I drew a panel. And it was Dropsy, and Dropsy was a boss sprite for one of the crappy games I made, back in the day. And so I repurposed the old boss sprite, which is Dropsy, a crappier version of him, and made a choose your own adventure with him. And I sort of made him endearing instead of like a horrible clown monster.
Clown.
Yeah. So I kind of made him cute in a way,
like a retarded kind of cute, right?
In a way, though I wouldn't say he's that. That's talked about in the game itself. But what were you gonna say?
Well, I should say maybe not retarded, but like what's a good word? I'm trying to think of a good word.
Slow?
No, not
he's like eternally innocent.
Yeah,
like
naive and yeah.
Kind of guy. But why he can't talk and stuff, and why he looks like that is explained in the game. And I've since 2008. I kind of designed that character like that, so it's gonna be cool for people to finally see like his origin and all that stuff. But basically 2008, I started doing those, and then the Something Awful guys were like, "Hey, you should make this into an adventure game because it looks like one." And then I was like, I don't got time for that. And then in 2011, I started a little Kickstarter. It was for $225, so I could buy the newest version of the Click and Play, which was Multimedia Fusion. And then I started working on it, and then I realized last year that I wanted to make this a big game, and I got better at art, so I wanted to just revamp all of my art. So I was like, you know what? Let's just do another Kickstarter, make it a big shebang thing. But yeah, okay, that's my answer to why did you get into indie games. Okay. There you go.
Because while you answered that, along the way you wiped out about 2/3 of the shit that I had prepped.
Sorry.
No, it was perfect, cool. Because there was going to be stuff like, hey, you said online that in 2008 you did a choose your own adventure game, and what brought you to doing it as an actual game? And then I
promise I wasn't reading your Google Doc.
No, you're totally fine. It was perfect.
Well, on just going back on the whole inspiration to getting into game development, you mentioned Sim Tower. Do you have any games that have been kind of inspirational to you, recently or not? Any heroes in indie development?
Okay, well, one, and I hope the guy never listened to this, but I like Tim Schafer's writing. I like his characters, and I like his stories. They're so good and so colorful. But I almost feel like he should be a filmmaker. Because mechanically, I'm always oh god, I suck at, Mm-hmm. I was a quitter. I was a bad gamer. I hate the word gamer, whatever. But I was a crappy...
You're like the table flip guy.
I quit. I wasn't even a rage quitter. I was just a play 2 minutes. Oh, this is too hard. I quit. Or find cheats somewhere, type of guy. So I liked the worlds, though. I liked the stories. Dropsy might be a little more walking simulator than some people would like, I guess, when it comes out. But it's still puzzly. It's like halfway between walking simulator and adventure game. Because really...
a story somehow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Well, I mean... I was going to say, nowadays games are not less game-ish, but a lot more interactive, film, essentially. You see a lot of games that are just about story. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because people are reacting positively to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
we've even reviewed a game,
Stranded.
Stranded, which is basically just
talk about a walking simulator.
Exactly. But I mean, yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I got off course probably. So I'm glad that you guys put it in there.
Tim Schafer was one of your heroes.
I loved his games, man. Like, just the worlds, the characters, the stories, really rich. Earthbound came late in my life. Sounds like a marriage. Anyway, Earthbound, I found it late, but I had always known I would like it based on what I'd seen, and I just played it like, I don't know, 2 years ago, something like that. And I was like, oh my god, this is everything I've ever wanted. So that has a big influence on me, just in the surreal elements, like where there's a 1-pixel bee who's like the most powerful being, one of the most powerful beings in the universe, and like he talks to you and then he's like, I'm dead, or whatever, and it's just like the best little, like, what, why? But I love it, and I love its take on culture. It just approached so many things that games never even tried to touch on yet,
and it was a fun game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So did you expect to make $10,000 over your goal when you started the Kickstarter, or even like maybe the weeks beforehand? You're just like, all right, you budgeted out, this is the amount of money that I can fathomly, earn to make this game in a timely fashion. Did you expect to make almost $25,000?
Yeah. No, I didn't. So I had a failed Kickstarter over the summer before that one succeeded. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah.
But that one I set the goal to $25,000, and which is funny because that one failed. I learned a lot of lessons. I made a lot of friends and stuff while I was doing that one. Do you guys know about Massive Chalice?
I'm not familiar with it now.
It's Double Fine's other Kickstarted game that they kickstarted, and it's like a medieval version of XCOM almost.
Oh, okay.
But,
Massive Chalice. Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, I just got the name of that. Anyway.
My first failed Kickstarter was going on while that one was ending. So I got on their ending live stream, which I'll link you guys to, and I wrote a little song about their game. And then, Chris Remo was on the stream, and so was Brad, the guy that's designing that game. And so I, sang about Brad's beard and other such things, and his game. And then I was like, wait a minute, don't hang up. I gotta tell you guys about my game. And they're like, okay, you have a minute. And so I was able to do it, but it still failed, even with that. And then, but that helped me make a lot of friends and stuff, learn about Kickstarter. And then in October, I started the second one, and I set the goal to 10,000 lower, and I was gonna just not hire certain people if I didn't, and just do everything myself and release it later, And the only thing that would have been for was a programmer, that 14,000, minimum. And then, but then the Kickstarter made 24,900. So, which was basically the first goal.
Nice.
Yeah, it was neat.
I actually discovered you through IndieBox. So, because we interviewed James, the president of the company, on Indie 3, and we follow the company on Twitter, and I saw that they put. This is for a question. I don't want to cut Rev off of his question turn, but I saw they were going to put Hypnospace Enforcer into the indie box, so that's how I found out about Dropsy.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's good. I hope that happens with a lot of people then.
Yeah.
Well, we've been pimping it out. So, sorry, you were going to say, I didn't mean to cut you out.
Oh, no, I didn't. I was just saying, I don't know.
Oh, all right. So, you've during the process of that answer, you also answered one of my other questions. So I'm going to go ahead and skip to something. On our last episode, we talked about the Galactic Space Jam. And out of all of the games that I played, and this might sound like I'm brown-nosing, but for anybody that knows me, I don't do that sort of thing.
Like it is.
Exactly. And one of the favorite pieces that I from that game jam was this tiny little game called Punch Robot. And as I was researching you for this interview, I discovered that you were the person that created that. So, thank you for that. It was definitely fun, and I enjoyed it. did you do it? Did you do it all yourself? And as a corollary to that, would you consider making it a rhythm game? Like, and if
God,
you,
I wanted to. Is that your question? Because I'll just start.
yeah, like what kind of problems would have prevented you from doing it into a rhythm game if you had wanted to?
All right, so here's like I did not want to do art during that jam. Like art was, I was like, I'm not doing any art. I know someone will probably want me to do pixel art. Not sounding cocky, but like that's kind of what I'm usually sign up for at those. So, someone would, I was like, oh no. But I was like so tired of pixel art. Like I'm trying to pull like 10 hour, at least 8-10 hours a day, you know.
Gets tedious.
Yeah, and it gets, and I wanted to do music, which honestly I have a lot more fun recording music. I like it more, the process more, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I only want to do music, and then for the first 2 days, I only did music. I was like, okay, this guy did a Astronaut No Baka, you know, the anime dating, Mars dating sim. I did the theme song for that. I did the girl anime singing. That was me singing. And then the
wait. Can you give us like a real quick to put you on the spot?
Just listen to it. I don't remember.
Okay, that's fine.
You can play it. You can cut right here and play a little clip or something. I don't know. But and then I don't remember. I seriously don't remember the lyrics. I did so many songs in like a short amount of time. And then I did Skeleton Crew's music because there was a girl that played French horn there, and I'm like, man, French horns are so
awesome.
Outer space. Yeah, and awesome.
Owned one. I played one for 8 years. They are
awesome.
Space.
You are right. And they always make me think of outer space. So I was like, I gotta get this girl's French horn recorded. No one else was gonna record her poor French horn. So I did music for another game, and then I did music for a third game that wanted disco or something. And then it was the last day. There was like 7 hours left, and I had this little sketch I made of like a robot, you know, partially covered in sand. I'm like, dang, I should use that. And then I was like, I only got 7 hours or whatever. But let's see. So I opened up Multimedia Fusion, which is, you know, the click and play, basically. And I was like, I can do something really quick. I can do it. And then it was so stressful. I had no sleep at that point. I was like, I felt like I was going to die. Like, you know. But I got a crappy version before the official deadline, which was like 6 o'clock that day, even though they left submissions open a while, and then put it up there. But I went up, it was in the Orlando Science Center, and it's very like echo chambery, so I had to go I didn't break in, but I snuck into like some classroom, like
it was just the entering part of B&E
to record and stuff. And so yeah, that was kind of rewarding to make that in that amount of time. If you guys downloaded an early version, like the text doesn't sync up with the words or whatever, which I fixed the day after.
On the version that I was demoing it seemed to sync up pretty well. But it did,
okay, you got the updated one then.
Would you ever consider going back and modifying it to into a rhythm game?
That's something after Dropsy that I do want to make. I even drew a little sketch with like multiple robots in the sand.
Oh, that's awesome.
And like one has an afro, and like one is just a tiny little sliver of metal that just like squeaks something in or something. And then, but I thought, man, that would be really fun. Like you're a space detective, and there was some crash where all these robots crashed in the sand, and you got to put together some story and rhythm. That was what I was going to go for at first, was make it a rhythm game, but it was too complex to program in the amount of time.
I know how that works. I've done like 72-hour film fests, and by that last day you're just on go. You're like, I can't stop. I haven't eaten in 6 hours. I haven't slept in 22 hours. But I mean, like, you know, this sound has to be recorded, so I'm going to take my audio recorder, throw myself up against the car, and put that into sound for someone getting hit by a car. Like,
exactly.
Like, and then it's like, I don't have time. This needs to be done. So
I felt like I was dragging myself. Like, I don't know. It was so hard at the end, but it was worth it. So.
Yeah. So you're no one, as they say on the internet, you're never supposed to read the comments, ever. Never read the comments. But and you've been listening to that, right? Probably not.
Yeah, because I probably didn't read what you're talking about right now.
Oh, no, I didn't read the comments either. But like, what were some, do you know of any criticisms that you've gotten, in regards to Dropsy? Like, has anyone ever like tried to be like, this game sucks?
Yeah, oh god. Okay, so
The laugh.
There's 3 things. The first thing that's very common, which doesn't really bother me, is pixel art. Oh, that's from a long time ago. Yeah, that's lazy. And oh my god, if they knew how much time I spent, I would preach about this a long time. But pixel art, I feel like, is more of a medium. It's not like a style, because you could do blocky, old like Atari, or you could do almost digital paintings.
I mean, like,
you could do a lot of styles within pixel art. It's just low resolution.
First of all, I personally think Dropsy is beautiful looking.
Yeah.
Pixel art or not. And to compare it with another game that's very popular that I don't hear very many people bitching about, most recently Shovel Knight, talking about like SNES.
Oh God, I love.
Yeah, Shovel Knight has a smaller resolution in terms of that than Dropsy, and no one's complaining about that. So
yeah, I mean, but that's something I expect. I've seen it about other games, but the funniest, weirdest one was on a PC Gamer article about the game. Some guy called it liberal propaganda, which if anyone knows me, and especially who was it that listened to my music.
Rev, yeah.
Okay, if any of you, if you listen to enough of it, you would know that I have a pretty big theological thing to my output, and Dropsy is somewhat a Christian metaphor in a few ways, and so it's not going to be on the nose or like Dropsy's not Jesus or something like that, but. Because I hate that too, and that's kind of why I'm so,
the whole Chronicles of Narnia thing.
Yeah, that's
I was just
not,
gonna mention
my
Aslan.
style.
Yeah,
that's not my style too much. But I do feel like that stuff doesn't. If people do try to implement it, they do it in such a terrible way that it's just very poorly represented in games. But anyway, the guy called it like liberal propaganda and stuff, and the only like. A lot of, to me, conservatives or whatever, by and large, also identify as Christians. So it was really weird to hear that about my game. Though I don't know if I would necessarily identify as a conservative myself, but I wouldn't call it liberal propaganda.
That's fantastic.
That was weird. You could find it. You could search PC Gamer.
My guess to that is that they saw... How like just from the not knowing anything about it, they probably saw it and like, oh, that looks really trippy. The guy must be doing acid.
There are a lot of colors. He must be in with the gays.
Maybe.
Dropsy.
Yes, the article had a big emphasis on love that transcends. I don't know, appearance or like the thing about the character is I'm trying to make a character that the world you're in like hates you. Like they don't like you. You're reviled unjustly, basically just because of how you look. Like you're an unattractive, like creepy looking clown, and any of us would probably walk across the street if we saw this clown coming, toward us. But I'm trying to like subvert like the hero thing where you're just like a powerful,
right.
hero in the game world, and you're bringing justice to this world or whatever. But you kind of do bring justice to the world, but it's through this naive goodness, and like everyone thinks there's some kind of seedy, creepy, bad undertone to like Dropsy. Like, oh, at the end is he gonna be a murderer or something? No, he really is just a really good. Kind-hearted clown. And like.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. That was it. I was just gonna ramble.
I was just gonna say, like, I really love how relatable that you're making, how relatable you're making the game, because you're right. There's, I mean, not that it's a bad thing that they make. You know, it's nice to escape into a game where you can do all these crazy things with powers and whatever. But
yeah,
I personally love something that's so much more relatable, where you can put yourself in the shoes of that. Maybe I don't. I'm not saying I look like a creepy clown, or maybe I do. I don't know.
was gonna say you.
I guess I could. When I have my big hair, maybe. But but actually, that kind of leads into one of my questions about Dropsy. Is a lot of indie developers put something about themselves into the game. Harkening back to Edmund McMullen in Meat Boy, the interviews during the Indie Game movie, he's talked about how a lot of it was from his childhood, that sort of stuff. He a lot of his games had to do with that sort of thing. Have you put any of yourself, your personality, or something, that an anxiety of yours or anything like that, into Dropsy, or is it more of a kind of a off the wall type of thing?
I'm sure on some like subconscious level, like yeah. I don't know if I planned anything like that, though. When you're writing a sympathetic character, you can't help but like try to put things that you have in your life, and into it. So there's definitely going to be some of that, and like I have this big obsession with Mr. Rogers, which like theologically, that guy, like I think he should be like listened to more by churches. His approach to things, but also, side note, search the video of like Fox News like saying Mr. Rogers is evil, because it's kind of funny. Anyway,
Fox News,
God,
talking about weird, talking about weird ass conservatives, man.
Okay, but anyway, so yeah, there's definitely some of me in there. I'm big on like this thing about like love or gentleness being a tangible, powerful force. Like, instead of returning evil that is done to you or hate that is displayed to you with more like yelling back or more hate or whatever, you respond with gentleness. People do not expect it, and so I think of that like sort of philosophical idea is definitely gonna be in there, because that's kind of what I try to do, so
this is starting to sound more like a game that there was it was after we talked about Accessibility Jam, about games with like anti-bullying games, or like do you remember that, Josh, Rev? You remember? Yeah. This sounds like it would just fit perfectly in that.
Well,
especially like
it wasn't the Accessibility Jam. That was about disabilities. You're thinking of like Sumo Boy and
yeah. We're talking about Sumo Boy, and then like 2 games after that. Yeah,
I've not heard of that.
Simon Carlson's game. Is also kind of like that.
Song for Vigo.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Song for Vigo. That's right. I feel like this might, I guess maybe a little bit more subtly fall into a similar category, where people sort of have to find themselves in the game by finding.
Everyone finds their own message in what
exactly.
you're trying to. Yeah.
Especially like I was blown away by how you described communication, and like I saw it and I'm just like, that's genius. Like I love that.
We're actually changing it a little bit. No, it's the same thing, but instead of like multiple bubbles, there's going to be, there may be multiple every now and then for like punctuation and stuff. It was very hard to do prepositions. Like, it was so hard.
Oh, yeah.
So we're doing very low frame rate animated bubbles. So you might, let's say a guy is saying he lost a lot of money, like a homeless guy. You would see like little money like burning. It's just like a 4-frame.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing, essentially, but yeah. But yeah, I really wanted to make it as universal like as I possibly could. So that's what I want with that.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
So I only have one more major question, and I bolded and underlined. Not really. I just added a bunch of exclamation marks and question marks to it. But when does Dropsy release? I can't wait.
Okay, the tentative date is December 1st. That's what I'm hoping for. I can't say that for sure, but that's what That's what I'm shooting for. I'm gonna be at PAX Prime if any of you guys are near there, which is really. I didn't know if I was gonna go, and then they emailed me, and now I have like the ticket.
That's
so
awesome.
I'm going, and I
I'm a
better
little
get
jealous.
this stupid game out to a playable, good, fun state.
So
Before that,
would you say though definitely at least like winter 2015?
Oh God, yeah, it'll be
All right.
way before that.
Well, I think one more question before we move on to like the rest of the show, because we could probably ask you questions for the rest of the freaking night.
Yeah,
but
I swear, like I just keep hearing you talk. I'm like, I want to make a movie about you.
yeah,
That's more entertaining than the indie movie.
yeah. So the last question I have is: do you have any advice for aspiring indie devs out there right now?
Yes, I love this. God, okay. So I'm sorry, I get all pumped. Like, the thing that bothers me so much is when people are like, oh, or I don't know, when someone used to draw or someone used to do something creative, and they're like, yeah, but that's not my thing. I'm not that type. I'm not an artist. I'm like, God, you dummy! Like, just do stuff. Don't stop doing stuff. Like, that's like the biggest thing. Just do not stop doing the stuff. Just do the stuff.
As long as you
Keep
love
going,
it, right?
Yeah. Like, if it's something that you like, I feel like people have this idea, and indie games, like the indie game communities, I think that's why I love them so much. They're helping break this, but of professionalism. Like, the imposter syndrome. People think like, oh, I'm not a real artist. I'm not a real.
Oh, they have to compare themselves to everyone else that's already made it.
Yeah, like, I don't have a degree. I can't afford this expensive program that people use.
Right.
Like, whatever you can say, like, that doesn't matter. Just, you have this inherent, like, thing in there, and you can do something. So just, like, keep doing it. I hate when people give up on stuff. And that's why, like, when my family, or, like, I don't know, a while ago, like, because I still live with my dad, that's shameful, but my sister had a few of her little, like, I don't know, finger paintings or drawings that she did a while ago sitting next to the garbage can.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you big jerk. And I, like, snatched them all and put them in my closet, because I hate when people, like,
Yeah.
My
hate
girlfriend has that
but,
problem.
yeah.
She'll draw something and be like, oh, this is awful, or oh, this reminds me of when I wasn't as good of an artist. Like, I want to burn these. I'm like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I'm not going to say everyone's going to get all rich or something, but see, that's another construct, like, that you have to make a lot of money on it for it to be valid. Just, like, keep doing it.
Well, that's what's awesome
it doesn't
about-
matter if you're...
That's what's awesome about indie games. It's not about the money most of the time. I mean, you said, like, some people come in to make money, but it's about the passion that you have. But I think I do have to say that first of all, I was already looking forward to playing this, but after hearing you talk about it, and talk about passion, how passionate you are about the game, and how much thought you put into it and everything like that, I cannot freaking wait to play this game. Like,
The hype train.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like creeping on.
Hold on. This is appropriate time.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I cannot wait to play it, and I'm gonna be creeping on your page like every week at least. Just checking this. Like, he said December 1st, but maybe it's earlier. But yeah, I can't wait.
Doubt it.
Is he gonna have to get a restraining order on you, Josh?
Shh. Quiet. Anyway, well, that was an awesome interview. Thank you, Jay, for answering our questions, and we'll see you in the next bumper or in the next segment of our show, since you're sticking around. And if you didn't know, the next segment of our show is, of course, Starting the Riot. And this week on Starting the Riot, we have a very special game. It's so special. It's so special. That's why it's so sparkly. If you take a look at the pictures, it is called Freedom Planet. Freedom Planet is actually it reminds me a lot of Sonic, like the Game Gear and Sega Genesis Sonic. The only instead of rings, there's crystals, and the only thing is, it's like Sonic with brawling in it. It's interesting.
I would say it's more like Sonic and oh shit, what was that game we talked about not too long ago? Concursion.
You mean like as far as changing scenes go, or what?
Well, no, I mean just as far as, because like each scene that you're in is, you know, you have X amount of things that you have to collect, and then as soon as you collect it, the game ends. So it's kind of like conversion there. But it does the artistry and stuff like that. I'll give you is definitely has a Sonic vibe.
It's not even just the artistry, but like some of the mechanics, like some of the characters. I don't know if it's all the characters, but when I was watching their demo or their trailer, I mean, even one of the characters even did like the Sonic spin type of deal, going around like loops and stuff, bouncing off those springy boards. Things like that. That's where you get the Sonic vibe from. But it's not. And at first glance, and I'm reading reviews and stuff like that on Steam. Everyone says at first glance, you're like, oh, it's like a Sonic clone, but it's not at all. Once you start playing it, you see how much of it, like it's its own game. Maybe draws a little bit of inspiration from that. But there's different characters that have different powers, and they help you get through different stages. And things like that. For instance, just to give an example, one of the characters, Lilac, has dragon powers where you can whip enemies with your hair, spin, and you can fly.
She's the main character.
Josh, I think you'll understand that her name is Sash Lilac. I think.
What?
I'm looking at the
She has a full name.
She has a full name.
Oh, excuse. Well, I'm looking at their website. All right.
Yeah,
so
I am too.
It says as Lilac. You can use. You know what?
Hit the characters tab.
Oh, screw you. I'm not hitting. Just to spite you, I'm not hitting the characters tab.
Okay.
But anyway, the point still stands that they each have their own attacks and things like that. So it's not just Sonic where you're just trying to speed run a level and collect rings. You're actually trying to. Well, you're doing that, but to collect the gems. But you're actually kind of brawling a little bit as with your powers and getting through. It's like it's almost like I don't know. I'm trying to think. I can't. Anyway,
there's words.
Yeah,
I can't. What that the guy who made Doom, was it? He made a platforming game, I believe. That this sort of remind. You know what? You guys keep talking. I'm gonna figure that out.
They also have like hidden pathways that you can go. So maybe that's what it was. I'm freaking stupid. Sonic mixed with like Mega Man kind of.
Mega Man. Yeah, I was gonna say Mega Man,
but like in Mega Man X is the one that I've seen play. I personally hate Mega Man. I'm like the only one on Earth that hates Mega Man. But in this game, I love how it's mixed with the Sonic essence of it. That's what makes me love it.
It looks a little like Jazz Jackrabbit or whatever to me.
Yeah, I think that's what I was talking about.
I also get
it has a little bit of Sonic, but not, and it has gems, I think, too.
Yeah, and it's fully voice acted. There's hidden pathways that you can go through there. There's bosses obviously that you can get through, which is also very Mega Man-ish. Because in like Mega Man X, you have like the different powers that you gain throughout the game that you can, helps you fight different enemies. And this is kind of the same way, except instead of gaining powers, you use different characters. And of course, there's unlockables with, mini games and achievements and artwork and music that they didn't put into the game, but they had it on the side.
Oh, so something worth mentioning. We were talking about the voice acting and whatnot. I didn't realize this. I downloaded and was playing through the demo, and it might not be an option there, but you can actually choose between full voice acting, text boxes like you would get in an RPG, or just skip all of that and the game starts and you go.
And actually, you and I, Tech, have a voice actor friend in common in this. Seymour, you know him?
What was his
Patrick Seymour.
Oh yeah!
Yeah, Patrick Seymour is a voice actor in this game.
It's cool watching all those people be more successful than us, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say. Well, I wouldn't say. I personally, anyway, have gone in a different direction.
Yeah.
But just to give you a little bit more information on the aspects of the game, it is available for Windows and Mac. I don't see a Linux.
It's not even really fully implemented on Mac. They say that they could try running it on a Windows emulator, but they expect performance to be slower.
Yeah, and it's available for direct download on PC and as well as Steam, and
they have a playable demo. They have a playable
well,
demo.
you said that. Yeah, the playable demo. So, well, you can go. Well, click the link because it's obviously it's going to be in our description, and the developer, which I should have said earlier, is Galaxy Trail Games.
I also want to say something that Jay might find really cool, and actually me too. I think this was coded in Multimedia Fusion.
Is it?
Yeah.
Who said? Wait, where did you see that?
No way.
So in the FAQ, there's a question. The game crashes and displays message saying Multimedia Fusion application has stopped working.
Yep.
Which only says Multimedia Fusion.
Yep. I mean, that's one of the downsides of Multimedia Fusion too.
Oh crap! And actually, I'm sorry. I was just looking through the thing, and I just realized something. I think it's the first person. It might have been the first person that we featured as an indie musician on the show. Wolfle does the music.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We're just now learning about this.
I just looked because they have credits down to the bottom, and I was just reading through, and I just saw her name. I was like, I recognize that from somewhere, and it's like, oh yeah, we we feature her on the show. So congratulations, Wolfle. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So do you guys have any other questions about, or what do you think about the game?
I really like how they set the characters up like those old school manuals for the games that you would get when you'd buy an old console game, where it had all the characters and they'd have a little blurb about them, or even like in the end credits of I think it is Mega Man games, where they would have a little like the names of all the villains and things that you've been killing throughout the entire thing, and that just adds a little bit more, I guess, depth to it. Even though all these characters are speaking roles in the game, I just really like that they included all the individual characters, how they are like on the site with pictures. It just felt it feels like
nostalgic.
Yeah, exactly. Nostalgia all the way.
Yeah.
I also want to mention that the soundtrack for it is fantastic, at least for the demo version. Because unfortunately I can't afford the $15 right this moment, but the soundtrack on that was this game is just absolutely amazing. It was upbeat, it was perky, like it wasn't like it was a rhythm game, but it was close enough too that it was like you felt like each soundtrack for each little scene in the level was perfectly suited for what was going on there.
And Rev, I tell you, the game is very colorful and nice. Reverend is a monochromat. Is that
monochromat? Yeah.
Yeah, I used the right word.
So if you do the rhythm game with the alien or with the robots, I mean, take that into mind.
Yeah.
Can you see any hues, or is it just?
It's black, whites, shades of gray, and I can usually pinpoint what type of color it is.
Okay.
Trained myself doing theater, like lighting for live theater. So like I have two Nintendo DS's that we confiscated from my kids sitting back here next to me, and one of them is a reddish color, and one of them is a bluish green color. But that's just from like learning that particular shade of gray means that kind of color.
Right.
So, the only other thing that I did want to mention, and this is something I'm kind of been on a kick about recently, is this game doesn't have the fastest iteration. If you screw up and you need to restart the level
all the way
or
at the beginning,
die, it goes all the way back out. You have to reselect the scene, and then you have to start it again. So, like, it's not an all the way to the beginning, because like you've got the they only gave you one full level, and inside that level there's like 12 scenes, and so each scene being its own standalone type deal within the greater theme. So if you screw up on one of the scenes, you know, and you have to pause, restart, it goes back, that's not too bad. That's fairly common. But when they introduce spikes, which are basically instant death unless you have lots of health things, you hit that and it actually drops you all the way back out to the menu to select reselect that scene. So if you're one of those people that like wants it good and fast and, you know, think Super Meat Boy style quick when you screw up, it's a little bit slower paced when it comes to that. But
they used to do that.
I mean, you only played the demo, so maybe it's different in the full game, but I mean, do they have any kind of checkpoint system at all?
Well, yeah, each scene is its own. Like once you unlock the scene, that's your point level.
Well, okay, so that scene is short enough to make it not like rage inducing. Because, like, for instance, just as Sonic, to give an example, they had those little like flags that would go around if you died. Yeah.
This is much smaller sectioning. I played it for about 15-20 minutes and I got to scene 10. And
that's
that
a
was
long demo.
Yeah.
Well, I guess for 15-20 minutes.
Well, yeah, and it's just the one level broken up into like 12 scenes, and you know, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and you know, it wouldn't let me continue on until I got all of them, and I kind of screwed up a bunch. So probably about half of that was me trying to get this one little ring thing with my hair. So it was a lot of fun. I really want to get this game. If anybody out there really loves us and wants to buy us a copy of it, I'm looking at you, Ogre. Then definitely would. Otherwise, it'll wait until a payday.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that is Freedom Planet. Awesome game, as always, because we have a reputation for bringing you quality games here at Indie Game Riot. But you know what else is quality? Huh?
Hookers.
Things that haven't been released yet?
Things that haven't been released yet? Early access type things? Things on Kickstarter, for instance. Those are the things that we have in Peep Show.
Please give all your attention to Early Access.
And this week on Peep Show, you guys are probably getting tired of hearing me say that, but I like these kind of things. We've got a new game that has hit Kickstarter, and it is called Avalon Lords, the MMORTS that is done by a fantastic group of people, Animus Interactive out of New York. Their team comprises some relatively big names. You might have heard of David Wu. No? Anybody? No?
Okay. Yeah. I've heard the name.
Yeah. He was the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer for this minor game called Halo 4.
Halo what? Excuse me?
Halo,
what is this?
Yeah.
Brushed under the rug, under the radar sort of deal.
Yeah.
That must be indie.
Yeah.
So they've got a really good team going on this. I'm friends with a couple of them, and no, they did not pay me to talk about this. I love the idea of an MMORTS game, and when I found out about that they were doing this, and I saw their first trailer, I have been following them nonstop since. I've been hounding their community manager, saying, "Hey, keep me informed. I want to know." So right now they are asking for $150,000. They're currently at about $7,500.
Let me interrupt you real quick.
Okay.
We talked on previous episodes about Kickstarters asking for a shit ton of money, and $150,000 is no small task. Do you think? I mean, first of all, I know this is an MMO of sorts. So
yes.
That in itself is pretty grand, and I know that's going to need a lot of funding. Do you think $150,000 is a lot to be asking for this game, or do you think that's right on the dot?
I was looking at that, and then my first thought was, wow, that's kind of a lot of money to make a game on Kickstarter. And then I looked up top, and I saw the MMO part of it, and I'm just like, no, That is
That
probably
makes
the
sense.
least amount that they could have possibly asked for to make this game actually possible. Because, because that's the problem. We've talked about it in previous episodes. That's my take.
But they did break it down. They did break it down on their Kickstarter page, which is linked in the chat for those of you guys that are watching this live, and it'll be in our show notes for those of you that are getting the post version. Basically, they are. The reason they're running this now, they have 5 full-time and 6 part-time developers, 7 artists and musicians, and 5 writers, marketing, and community management folks, and only a couple of them are being paid. The rest of them are doing this in their day job, in the breaks between their soul-sucking day jobs. So. They need what they're looking for this is going to it's going to do 3 more months of salary for the coding and art teams to get this to a playable alpha, as well as hosting for the MMO servers and software licensing. That is generally what this is all going to go for. The thing that really sparks me about this, in addition to a lot of the pledge rewards that kick around, I really want to get my personal emblem, like my sword fighting unit's emblem and my banner into the game. Unfortunately, I don't have the $100 or so odd dollars that it would take to do that, but I want to. So the biggest draw to this game, aside from the fact that it's real-time strategy in an MMO format, is just how absolutely fucking sexy this game looks. Like, this is AAA quality graphics, and we hash on that a lot. Rephrase. A lot of people hash on that, graphics aren't everything, blah, blah, blah. But when you're doing something of this scale, that you have the ability to, I don't think WoW looks as good as this. Now, granted, I haven't played World of Warcraft in, a dozen years.
I would agree that WoW does not look as good as this.
And so, between the RTS aspect, the MMO, and just how absolutely sexy this looks, and the fact that it's in a medieval-esque time period, which I absolutely adore. This game literally, I don't think, could do any wrong, in my book.
Now, I've never actually played an MMORTS. Can you think of an example?
I used to frequent the game Shattered Galaxies.
Okay.
Which was it's a sci-fi MMO that's still up, but no one really plays it anymore, which kind of sucks. And it was a 2.5D asymmetric MMORTS. And I was actually gonna use this as an example. I've seen MMORTSs where it's small squad tactics, where you and your faction are in a battle. You are in control of your squad of units to try and fight the other squad of units, and throughout the game you unlock things, get different units, upgrade your units, possibly get better units. The more you play, the better you are. And tactics really came into it because it was small squad tactics, and when all of your units were dead, like that you had in reserve, you were done. And looking at this, like, this is a really ambitious thing to do. Say, hey, we're going to be a mostly full-scale, like, tactical MMORTS where you have a group of soldiers in an army, and you are fighting another army that just came from fighting the army that they just tore through. Get ready. And
yeah,
I really hate to be skeptical about that, but I'm almost a little bit tentative on it.
You kind of have to be, because you're talking about how ambitious it is, and one of the things is you don't hear very often. You don't hear indie developer and MMO in the same sentence,
unless it's the sentence of indie developer MMO fails on Kickstarter.
Right. Right. So,
well, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna throw this in as a counter to that. And I did mention, I specifically mentioned the fact that David Wu was the CTO for Halo 4 for a very, very realistic reason, and that is Halo 4 happened to be the #1 on Xbox Live system for like about a month and a half, because everybody hated it and could play Call of Duty later. But you know, David has experience. Like, you don't get into a CTO position at a company, and this is from somebody who does IT work. You don't get into a CTO position and not know how to scale things properly. Mm-hmm. So he obviously has enough experience under his belt that Microsoft, of all people, is going to hand him Halo 4 and say, make sure the technology to support this works. So, given the team that they have built up around Avalon Lords, I am absolutely balls to the wall certain that it's going to, provided that they make their funding and all of that, and can continue on from there. I have absolutely no doubt that this game is going to hit release.
Now,
I also expect that they're probably going to have some outside investors come in within the next 10 days. Seriously,
it literally could happen. I know there was. I don't know exact details, but I do know that there was there was some mention of that that can be inferred.
If the Yogscast can.
Don't even talk about nonsense. But 3 things too. I just want to mention. One, first of all, at least when I'm looking at this game, 3 things that pique my interest. One, I love RTSs. I've never played an MMO RTS. It's always been things like Civ 5 or Age of Empires and things like that. So that this is very intriguing to me of how an MMORTS would work, because I've never played the game that you were talking about or anything like that. Second is that how customizable this is, because Rev, you were talking about making banners and making insignias, things like that. And if you
that is a pledge reward.
Yeah, I was
not necessarily in game.
I was gonna say if you pledge I think it's like $1,000, you can have a freaking statue created in your image. You can be a god among men in the game. And then the third thing is, now you ruined it. I can't think.
It was your words. Don't blame us for your lack of ability.
You interrupted me. Crap. Okay? Continue.
It is $400 to get the Kingdom banner.
Yeah, I so do. Like, I have the image already in hand. It's my husband made a banner that has our unit emblem and then my personal emblem. I need $400 so that I can put that in the game and be like, yeah.
Start talking to all your sword fighting buddies and be like, pool for this. Everyone needs to pool for this.
So, any questions on this? It's. I'm in love. What can I say?
Well,
I want to play an MMORTS. My first computer game that I actually bought that wasn't shareware was like Total Annihilation, and like that. Other than Click and Play, pretty much defined my childhood, and then Age of Empires 2. And I just can't fathom a persistent, shared world. No game does that yet. Right now.
Yeah. This one is not completely persistent. So each server that comes online is going to have its own procedurally generated terrain, and here's where your kingdom starts, etc. And it will have its own server victory conditions. Control 85% of the world, or murder everybody else, etc.
So it's more like matches, not a constant.
But it's a massive.
But it's a massive world, and they're not. It doesn't appear that it's going to be one of those little things like world domination is one of the servers, and they're estimating that based on what they've got right now, it's going to take 6 months to complete that challenge. And so, once the victory condition for that server is completed, they leave it open for a little while longer so that they can get, this was the person that won, and then here's second place and here's third place, and then they close that server down. As soon as the victory condition is completed, they bring up a new server, and I'm sure they're going to be, doing load testing and stuff so that there will be enough servers for everybody.
Do things carry over then, though? Like with your
I figured that. From what I found, the thing that carries over is that if you win one of those, you get a lot of awesome in-game things that don't change gameplay, but I think it's like cosmetics, if I read that correctly.
Yeah, a lot of cosmetic stuff, and go ahead.
I like that concept. I like it more than maybe like an Eve, like always.
Better than pay-to-win type stuff.
You make these little stories over like a few months, and then it's known as like the War of whatever, I like that. It's cool.
And it becomes part of the ongoing history of the game.
That is, you're making your own lore.
It's working. Pretty much. Your own history lesson. And then they did mention on the Kickstarter that they are going to be running at least one server that has no end game conditions, that's just a social server. So if you want to play it casually, nobody else can come in and destroy your cities, or completely murder you. But the general servers, like I said, this is you're absolutely correct. It's ambitious, but it's ambitious in a fantastic way.
Yeah,
I remember the third thing I was going to say now. The lack of microtransactions is fantastic, because I think we've all talked about our disdain for that. I mean, I can't say disdain, because I understand it, because especially if you're going to make it free to play, how are you going to make your money? But
improperly implemented
right.
is what the ones that bother us.
With that said, this is subscription based, correct?
Yeah, it is. It is going to be a typical MMO, as we would understand it. You buy the game and then you pay a monthly subscription fee. Most of the pledging and the Kickstarter, anything above, I think it's like the $20 level. Let me scroll back up and get that. Anything at the $15 level or more gets a copy of the game and a 3-month subscription at launch. So
can you I'm looking if there's a way to buy a lifetime
a lifetime?
It doesn't look like they do.
Not in the rewards, it doesn't look
like. See, if they were offering
they have the rewards are like 3 months of discounted subscription when it launches. That's the rewards they have.
It's 3 month. It's a 3-month subscription.
That's what I said.
Straight.
They had an early bird special where it's discounted. I saw on their website.
If they were like, and this is a really big thing for businesses in general. If you sell lifetime subscriptions, people will pay just for that. Like if they had it's like $700 pledge. All you get is the game and a lifetime subscription. Everyone would buy that one. Everyone would.
Yeah. The last thing is I wanted to just kind of hit a point on. So to help Avalon Lords, Jay mentioned before we got into the segment about how their trailer doesn't show gameplay footage for a few minutes.
I checked it.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it does?
It's towards the end of the video.
Well, no,
yeah,
it said actually
that's what I meant.
Footage. Oh, yeah, no, within about 3 minutes, you're right.
Yeah. So, and Jay was mentioning how they don't put gameplay footage in like first 3 minutes, and how important it is to get it in within the first 30 seconds, so people see that and they're like, okay, this is what the game's actually going to be. They feel safer. It's more transparent that way. They want to know what they're going to play. They don't want to see some freaking movie play out in front of them. But with that potential, I guess, mistake aside on the Kickstarter, try whoever's listening to this, try to look through that and get through to the gameplay. There's gameplay footage further down the page too.
Yep.
So
I hope they make it. I was just saying, because my first Kickstarter, that was a big reason that that it didn't succeed. But I hope it makes it. And God, it looks so good.
Yeah.
Why?
So push through that. Don't be like, oh, there's no gameplay footage, and then just close it. Look through. You'll see the gameplay footage. Scroll down, see more gameplay footage.
And the gameplay footage looks awesome.
And it looks fantastic. Or if anything else, at least trust what we're saying. Have we ever steered you guys wrong? I don't think so.
We have yet to back a Kickstarter that fails.
Yeah. Well, that's not true, actually.
Well, like fails is funded and then dies.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say Bald Boy I don't think made it, but they are still going to make the game. But anyway, yeah, it does. Looks fantastic. Anything else you have to say, Rev, about Avalon Lords?
No. Any last minute questions? Any questions from our audience? Anything like that before we move on?
Yeah. Nah, it doesn't look like it.
I think it might be time to move from something subscription to something a little less subscription.
Like free fun.
And finally, for this week's free fun, we have a game called Oh My Fat Guy. And it's a very simple game. You play as a guy who's rolling down a hill, or uphill, depending. You're basically just rolling, and you try to collect food, and the more food you collect, the bigger you get, and it also is sort of like a food armor sort of deal, to where if you pick up enough food, you can survive a hit, but if you get hit again, you deflate. There are also speed peppers that make you go really fast, and it speeds up the music as you go, and then there are also ice cream cones. I think they're ice cream cones. No, they're like little slushies.
Yeah.
And you hit those, and then everything slows way down, and even the music slows down. And it's a really simple one button controls. You hit space to jump. There's some platforming in there, and I haven't hit a level that I think
it's very Twitch.
Yeah, it's very Twitch, and it's also somewhat random. Like I've hit certain elements in levels that I've remembered from previous levels, but I haven't ever had the exact same level where I could remember exactly, okay, spikes are here. Okay, there's a hot pepper over this way that'll push me really far and really fast. So there's a lot of replayability in that, and at the end of each time you die, you get how far you rolled and how much food you collected and your general score with that, and so you can basically try to beat your best scores in the game. And it's really it's a fun game. You're like, oh, I'm kind of bored. Click on the link, play the game for a few minutes. Okay, I got pretty far, but it really gets you.
You talk about a lot of the free games like being the kind of game that you can sit down and play while you're waiting for a bus. This is one of them, right?
Yeah, really.
Because it doesn't take. I mean, it takes long if you're really good at it. But it's one of those where it's just like you just keep. It's like kind of like Flappy Bird was, except Flappy Bird was completely stupid.
You know what this game really reminds me of? Do you remember the old Kitten Cannon Flash game?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is basically like, as I was playing it today, I was literally going, "Wait a second, this is an awesome version without cats." So
it's a fat guy. Yeah. So. Any other information you'd like to tell us about?
Who developed it?
I don't actually have the page open.
Subligaming.
Yeah. Subligaming. I can't open it, or else you guys will hear all the music that it plays, and the music's pretty good too.
I've been playing it during this conversation. I like the burger. I like the big hot dogs and burgers that are just in the background and the parallax layers going by. Oh, I got frozen.
Yeah, and you notice like the music slows down.
And there's a chili pepper that'll speed you up or take you out of the frozen state if you are already frozen. So that is Oh My Fat Guy, our free fun game of the week. But at the end of free fun, you know what time it is? It's time to end the show. Unfortunately, all good things must end. First thing though, I know we could be here all night and keep Jay digitally imprisoned and ask him more questions and everything like that, but until and make him slave away until he finishes Dropsy and we can play it. Really. But before we go into how other ways that you can contact us and keep up with us, let me just say that the music that you've heard during the show is by Dutton Says Hi, so go check out that link. Fantastic music. Thank you so much, Dutton, for allowing us, or Dutton Says Hi, for allowing us to use your music. Support indie video game musicians as well as the devs. And during Jay's interview, we've also that was not Dutton's music, that is Jay's music that he's allowing us to kind of sample while during that interview. And which of course is amazing because Jay has some freaking awesome stuff, and you should go support his music as well. You're welcome, Jay. And now, as I mentioned too, we have ways that you can contact us and keep up with us with all the updates and things like that. First of all, what?
Before we do that, you can contact Jay Tholen. He's got his website, jtholen.net.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you.
Or just search Dropsy the Clown, and everything pops up.
And all of the links are going to be in the description anyway, and on our various things. First of all, for those of you listening to the recorded version, we do have we are recording live. So thank you to all the viewers who are here. And it's more than last week, so that's a good thing. Yep. And hopefully that'll keep improving. And we record live on hitbox.tv/JaShinYa. That's JaShiNYA. For those of you listening live, we have recorded versions that have bumpers and background music, and you don't listen to our ramblings in between. So it's a lot shorter. But that is on youtube.com/JaShinYa Gaming. And to keep up to date with us, we use Twitter, Facebook, all that sort of stuff. On Twitter, our handle is @IGR Podcast, Facebook.com/IGR Podcast. We also have a Reddit community, reddit.com/r/Indie Game Riot. Our website for the time being is igrpodcast.webs.com. There's a contact form that you can reach us via the website, or you can email me directly at JaShinYaGaming @gmail.com. And yes, I did mention the Reddit. Yes, I did.
Guess what?
Give the whole link.
Guess what you didn't mention?
That
enabling the evolution.
Oh,
no, that too. But you didn't mention the brand new merch store that we have on the site.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned it last time. I try not to beg for people, to do that. If they want to support us, they can support us.
People to buy stuff, but we're just saying, if you like if you want an Indie Game Riot shirt or a mug, you want to wake yourself up with some Riot in the morning.
Get your Riot Gear.
Yeah, get your Riot. That was a brilliant idea, by the way.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Have you said that before? Did you just make that up?
Yeah,
no, I have that on the page.
That's brilliant.
Get your Riot Gear on.
Know why we keep Josh on this show.
Yeah. The genius that I am.
Yeah.
And the one thing, though, that I can ask, because I've never asked in any of the other videos, the one thing that would actually help more than anything, at least at this point, is if you love the show, if you love supporting indie devs and indie video game musicians and all that sort of stuff, spread the word about the show, because the bigger the show gets, the more we can do for indie devs like Jay here. Yeah. Right.
Yep. Yeah. That was meant to sound unenthused.
Excited.
Really nice.
Yeah. Whatever.
Indie Game Riot.
So,
Indie Game Riot.
No, we're enthusiastic. So, to show your enthusiasm, everyone enthusiastically say goodbye.
Have a good one, guys.
That wasn't enthusiastic.
See you guys next time.
Toodles! And then we'll move on to your interview. Since we don't have an interview bumper, I was thinking about making one, but I guess it's not really worth it.
I don't think we have time for that.
I'll make one right now.
Oh, nice.
Oh, jeez.
What is it called? Is it Indie Game Interviews? What is it?
I don't know. That's the thing.
Whatever you want with it, I guess.
Yeah, you design. You do it whatever you want it to be.
There you go.
That's
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it right now.
All right, do it.
Indie Game Interview Injection.
Okay. All right.
That was awesome.
We'll cut
All
that
right.
That was really cool.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay.